welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Tammy Buitendach and I am the founder of the Sleep Company. This company does all things parenting. So we offer attachment-based sleep training all the way through until conscious parenting courses. So definitely go and have a look. And if you're new here, hit the like, subscribe, bell button, and definitely share this video with a mom friend if she's struggling with this at the same time as well. So today's conversation, I want to go a little bit deeper into early morning wakings with our small children. And this one's challenging because if you are not naturally inclined to be a morning person, it can be like torture to have to wake up for your child and then entertain your child before you get ready and go to work. And this differs really from adult to adult. Some parents like having the early mornings and then they never have an issue. And if you enjoy getting up early in the morning and so does your child, then keep doing that if it works for you. But if your child is waking up super early in the morning and you are not a fan of it, then this video is definitely for you. So first off, we're going to discuss about how much sleep does your child need. Now, under the age of 2.5 years old, a baby needs 11 to 12 hours of nighttime sleep alone. Okay, that's important. That's excluding their day naps, which means a large chunk of sleep has to occur at night. Now, when it comes to children, we have two different scenarios. We have some children, well, three. Some children that are average, some children that have high sleep needs, and some children that have low sleep needs. And I've had one of each child. So my daughter has high sleep needs. She sleeps a lot. She sleeps more than the average child. And my son always fell below that. He gets away with a lot less sleep. And this, unfortunately, is not something we can change about your child. For instance, some adults are morning people. My husband's one of them. He likes to wake up at the crack of dawn and cycle and exercise and get his day started. But he goes to bed much earlier at night. And I alternatively like to stay awake much later in the evening. I'm an evening person. And that means I like to sleep in a little bit later in the morning. Now, this kind of temperamental thing or personality trait, there is unfortunately not much you can do about it. So if your child is just one of these children, unfortunately, that's the card you were dealt and you're just going to have to work with it. But I will say that if your child always was sleeping later in the morning and has suddenly started giving you early morning wakings, then there's something that you can start looking at and seeing, what's happening here. So one of the first things that we have a look at is, was there a change in your child's schedule? So often when kids are at a cusp age where they start dropping naps, okay, this can arise because what happens is, for instance, your child was on 3 naps a day. Finally, they lose that last nap of the day. But now the gap between nap 2 and bedtime is really big. And that creates a spike in cortisol. And if you know anything about sleep, cortisol is the enemy of sleep. Okay, it's your energy hormone. And what happens is the child then goes to bed with cortisol levels that are too high, and cortisol impacts their ability to sleep deeply, and then early in the morning that child wakes up. So when your child is on this cusp age of dropping naps, what you can do to help your child along is to temporarily pull bedtime earlier. And while your child's brain adjusts and they get used to the new schedule and their naps space better apart, then bedtime will naturally start nudging later. So that's the first thing you can have a look at. The second thing you can have a look at is their development. Are they on the cusp of learning something freaking exciting? Because if your child has just learned to walk, that is one of the most exciting things that they're going to experience. And often when they wake up in the morning, they're like, no, I want to walk. This is so exciting. Okay. And how I like to explain it to parents is, if you can remember back to when you were a child and you knew tomorrow was your birthday and you're going to get presents. Oh, you're excited and you go to sleep. The moment your brain registers it's morning, you're wide awake and you're so excited to open your presents. Okay, the chance of you getting that child back to sleep is 0. Okay, not going to happen. They're way too excited. And this often can occur with small children while they're learning some new developmental skill like sitting, crawling, standing, walking. And what you just have, the only thing you can really do if that's the case, is you've got to wait until it becomes boring or it becomes old news. So once walking is like, been there, done that, then often those kids will fall back into a healthier sleeping pattern. So the next thing we want to look at is their environment, okay? And this you do have a lot of control over. So for instance, in winter, the sun tends to rise a lot later in the morning. So if you have poor block out, it doesn't matter because the sun rises later, which allows your child to sleep a little bit later. Now summer rolls around and the sun starts rising a lot earlier in the morning. And if you don't have decent blockout curtains or blinds, your child is going to wake up with the sun. That's how our brain is designed. Okay, so definitely look at how dark is your child's room. Another thing to look at with the change of season is the temperature. So if your child was in a sleeping bag and it was cooler and now all of a sudden the temperature starts warming up and it starts getting hotter, especially in summer when the sun rises earlier, you will know yourself. It's really difficult to sleep when you're getting hot and you're uncomfortable and you're sweating. Okay, so one thing you can try and control is the temperature in your child's room. Also, with a change of season, often when the sun rises earlier, birds start chirping, okay? Or maybe your husband gets up early and he's making a noise in the house, or they've got much older siblings who get up earlier and they don't bother you, but them being active in the house wakes up your child, okay? In those kind of instances, white noise is going to be a lifesaver for you. So definitely have a look at their environment. And then finally, I'll mention that as challenging as what it is, I'll say that what you want to try and do as far as possible is stay as consistent as possible as what you are with their routine and their schedule. Just because a child wakes up early in the morning does not necessarily mean you've got to go join that party, right? So my son, like I mentioned, he's an early morning child. And when he would wake up in the morning and I'd hear him blabbing away in the cot, I didn't get up and go to him. Like, he's not miserable. So I'd leave him. I'm like, listen, buddy, you're welcome to have a party in your cot at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm just not going to join this party. And I would leave him there and he'd entertain himself in the cot. And then at 6 o'clock, I'd go and fetch him. So just because they're waking up early doesn't mean that you need to go to them. If they're very distressed, obviously, then you do need to address it. So parents, I find, often lose all sense of logic and reason when our children act outside of how they normally act. So don't allow that to trigger you and to impact the way that you parent. And finally, I'll say that if you have been struggling with these early morning wake-ups and you're struggling to get back on track and your child is miserable and they're grumpy and you can see they're tired and you can see that it is negatively impacting them, they're not waking up happy, they're waking up very unhappy, then definitely reach out to a consultant so that she can have a look at your schedule and what's happening with your child's sleep and help you formulate a plan going forward. I hope this chat was helpful. Bye.